Hey there! Today we're going to do a short video on how to do Gantt charts in Power BI. Power BI doesn't come with a Gantt chart out of box. You need to get it from the AppSource store, but it is there is one that is free and it is produced by Microsoft. It's just not included with the desktop product. So we're going to click on this little ellipses menu here and then click on Get More Visuals. And search in the bar for Gantt. And it's this first one here. There are others that are probably fancier, but they also cost money. It's usually priced per user in your tenant. So we're just going to go with this one. So click on that and then click on Add. Okay, so we've got it here. I am going to do a little bit more setup with my data before I get started. So I'm going to click on Transform up here. I've got a really super simple data set that is just hand typed in. We're doing fake vendor contracts in this case. Usually you'll see Gantt charts used for project management where you've got tasks and milestones with start and end dates. But Gantt charts are a useful visualization anytime you have a start and end date that you're trying to compare to today's date. So I'm using fake vendor contract data here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract today's date from the end date for these records. And what that's going to give me is a number of days relative to today that I can use for filtering. This isn't super important if your data set is very tiny, but if you have multiple years worth of data that you're trying to visualize, it is very useful for adding filters. So to filter out the stuff from multiple years ago so that it doesn't sort to the top of the Gantt, because the sorting in the Gantt is a little bit simple, or you can't sort by all of the things you would want to sort by, so you need to be able to filter it. So I'm just going to go to the tabs up here and go to Add a Column and add a custom column. That's going to let me do a calculated column on this field. So I'm just going to call this days to end date. And I'm going to click into this space down here and double click on the end date to add it. And then the Power Query command for getting today's date is date time local now, something local now, let's see, local. Date time.local now, but this is going to give me a date time format. And what we want is a date format. So we're going to wrap this in a date time dot date. And add all our parentheses in here. So that's what we want. And we're subtracting that from the end date. And just click OK. So that's added a duration type column, but it doesn't actually have that column type. And that's just the behavior of adding the custom columns. You have to manually specify what type of column that is. So I'm just going to go back to the Home tab with that selected and go to data type. I'm going to change this to whole number. And it's best practice to rename these query steps to give yourself an indication when you come back later and have 8 different custom columns that are all named the same thing what you're doing. So I like to just call it, use the first letter to uppercase to make it stand out. You don't have to do that, it's just my personal preference. So custom, and what did we do here? We did days to end date. All right, so I'm going to close and apply. All right, so let's start adding some things to our Gantt visual. So I'm going to start with our vendor name, and I'm going to make that the parent because I want all of the contracts that belong to that parent to show up in the parent grouping. And then I'm going to add the item as the task. Normally you'd put your task in the task, but in this case that's not what we're visualizing, so we're just improvising. And then start and end date, so we're just going to drop the start date here and end date there. And it defaults to showing by week, and in this case I don't want that. I want to go to the Format tab and then go down to Date Type and change that to month, because we're dealing with a lot larger time frames and you can't really see what's going on when you're zoomed in that far. So this looks okay. I would like this column to be wider, so I'm just going to search for the word width in the settings over here. It looks like there's one for the category labels, which is what that is. So I'm just going to change this to 210 instead of 110. Looks like that fits pretty well. And then the bar height is really tall. I want to be able to see all of these at the same time. So I'm just going to see if I can find it by searching height. Yeah, so task settings, height, search for the word height, and it just popped up. So I'm going to set this to maybe, let's try 20 and see. Oh, that's too short. About 30. There we go. That looks pretty good. So when I'm looking at this, if I hover on here, you'll see that the start and end date show up in the tooltip, but they are showing a date time formatted fields, and these are both date type columns. So normally when you set the field types, so if I go click on end date, it's a date type. There's date time and date in here, and when you set it to date, usually your visuals will recognize that, but this one doesn't. So there is actually a setting for that though. If you go into the visual settings, select my visual here, under search for date, see if it comes up. Tooltip settings, yeah, tooltip settings, date format. So some kind of description under here would have been helpful, because it took me a little while to figure out what they wanted in here, but what they want is the kind of the programming style date time format. So I did month slash day slash year, and hit enter and see what that does. It says it's spelled wrong, but it works. So you'll see that the time got removed from here. Having the month in uppercase is important. So if I do it in lowercase, you'll see why. Oops, I'm not in the, there we go, I'm gonna click on it first. Date. So if I do this lowercase, you'll see that it puts the, it's got 00 for the month, which isn't right. I think it's because it's using like minutes or something. It's trying to do minutes and there's no minute field that it's can use, and so you want uppercase M's. That's what I'm getting at. All right. So that is pretty good. You have some more options if you want to add more things in here. You can add a duration and a % complete. I don't really need that here, I don't think, but if you want to, you can add it. And you can add additional tooltips here too. So all in all, it's not perfect. I would really like it if for instance, these things could be conditionally formatted. Like I'd really like these to be links where you could click on the company to say, go look at your contract in your contract management system, but you don't have conditional formatting options for those fields. So if I click on these, they're not available. That's all right. It's a free visual. Maybe it'll get added to the stock visuals someday and updated a little bit, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I don't know why it is set to earliest end date, because I don't have multiple values in there. I'm just gonna change this to end. And I would rename this visual, obviously, so let's go to general and call it active contracts. And what I can do now is use that calculated field that I made, this days to contract end dates. You'll see that one of these contracts is long expired, about a month ago now. And what I want to do is use this as a filter. So I'm going to select my visual and then drag this over into the filters area. And we're going to say days to end date is greater than -30. So this is going to remove everything that is expired by 30 days or more, which in this case it only removes that one row. But if you've got 5 years worth of contract data, then it'll remove a lot of the stuff that nobody's going to be wanting to look at. You can also use the same fields to set a filter to show things that are expiring soon and link it to a bookmark, which is pretty neat. We can go ahead and do that for fun. So let's save what we've got so far as a bookmark. So let's go to View and then Bookmarks menu and click Add. We're going to make this active or future contracts. All right, let's set up our second bookmark. So what we're going to want is to be showing things that are expiring soon. So we're going to change our filter from greater than or equal to -30. We're going to set this to 0, so that'll get anything that's expiring today, greater than or equal to 0, and less than or equal to 90. So that's things expiring in the next 90 days, and click Apply. So you'll see this vertical line here, that's today, and this upper bound is the end date. So those are things that are expiring soon. We're going to save this as a bookmark by clicking Add in our Bookmarks pane, naming this Expiring Soon. All right, so now we can, if we want to, add a bookmark navigation option. So that's under the Insert menu up here. And then we're going to insert buttons and navigator, bookmark navigator. So here's our 2 buttons. I'm going to make this smaller. You can fiddle with how these look. I'm just going to leave it how it is for now. And that will let us swap back and forth between our bookmarks. If you've got more than 2 bookmarks with unrelated things, you can group these. So you can right click on it or use this ellipses menu, and there is the group. Maybe just drag one on top of the other. No. Oh, right click group. There it is. I don't know why it didn't show up the first time I clicked on it. All right, and open this up and drag it in there. You can reorder them by dragging and dropping, then you can name this and then name it. All right, so this visual selector will let you choose which bookmark group you want to use. So I'm going to use this one. So if you've got a bunch of other bookmarks, that way it doesn't show a bunch of unrelated stuff in that button menu. All right, so now we can swap to our expiring soon and active or future. You do have to hold the Control key on your keyboard when you switch between these bookmarks in the desktop and the web app. It won't force you to do that, but that's just how the desktop version functions. All right, thanks for watching. That was how to create a Gantt chart in Power BI.